All right, today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to step into the shoes of a top-tier management consultant. Our job? Crack a case, figure out what's really going on with a company, and then build a plan to fix it. So let's get right to it. So here's the big question for today's case. How do you fix a problem that's basically hiding in plain sight? We've got this company, right? On the surface, they're killing it. They're successful, they're growing, but dig a little deeper and you start to see some cracks, and we've got to figure out what's causing them, fast. Now, for this deep dive, we're pulling a classic case right from the playbook. And I mean the playbook, Mark Cosentino's Case in Point. Seriously, this book is basically the Bible for anyone who wants to get into consulting. It's shaped thousands of strategic minds, so let's see what we can learn from it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll get to know our client. Then we'll put ourselves in the COO's position to really grasp the challenge they're facing. After that, it's all about the data. We'll diagnose the real problem, come up with a solution, and then, well, we uncover a pretty shocking financial twist. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with our big recommendations.
All right, first things first. Let's meet our client, Smackdown rivals. And from the outside looking in, these guys look like an absolute champion, a real heavyweight in their industry. So Smackdown rivals, they're this massive, publicly traded sports entertainment company. They've got a huge, passionate fan base all over the world. The numbers look great too, pulling in over $500 million in revenue, making a solid profit. And Wall Street, they love these guys. They're a cash machine, they have zero debt, and they're growing globally. I mean, on paper, this company is the definition of success. So what could possibly be the problem? But, every success story has its next chapter, its new challenge. And for Smackdown, their CEO is staring down a classic problem. How do you keep growing without growing broke? It's that classic balancing act between getting bigger and getting smarter. It's a real high-wire act. So the COO has been told, grow aggressively. That means pouring money into new storylines, new international markets, maybe even buying up smaller rivals. But think about the pressure. He's walking a tightrope. If he makes a bad bet, it could cost millions. But if he plays it too safe, the content gets stale, the fans get bored, and they just click over to the next big thing. Huge stakes.
And here's where it gets interesting. While everyone's cheering, a few sharp-eyed analysts are raising a red flag. They've spotted something. It looks like the company's costs are actually climbing faster than their revenue. And that's our hidden problem. It's the first thread we need to pull on to see what's really going on here.
Okay, so this is where the real consulting work begins, the diagnosis. We've got our hypothesis from the analysts, and now we've got to prove it. It's time to do what consultants do best. We're going to follow the money. Let's peel back the layers on this thing. So here's a little pro tip from the consulting world. It's called the pyramid principle. You always lead with the answer first. So let's just cut right to it. Are those analysts right? The answer is yes, 100%. There is a very real, very serious cost problem at this company, but it's not everywhere. It's hiding in some very specific places. Now let's jump into the data and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay, this is our main piece of evidence. It's the company's income statement or statement of operations from the last 3 years. Now, I know it looks like a big wall of numbers, but trust me, buried in here is the key to this whole case. This tells the story of every dollar that comes in and goes out. So let's start digging. And bam! When you just calculate the growth rates, the picture gets super clear. Check this out. Revenue up almost 27%. That's awesome. Now, cost of revenues, that's the cost to actually put on the shows, it's up about the same. That's totally normal, makes sense. But then you get to this line, SG&A. That's all your overhead, right? Marketing, salaries, office space. That thing jumped by over 36%. See that gap? That's almost a 10-point difference. That right there is our big flashing red light. And here's what that actually does to the business. When your overhead starts growing way faster than your sales, your profit gets squeezed hard. This chart shows their profit margins, and you can see they're shrinking. Gross margin, that's what they make on their product. Operating margin, that's what's left after you pay for all the overhead. Both are going down. Simply put, for every dollar they earn, they're keeping less of it as profit than they did last year and the year before that. This isn't just a one-time thing. It's a really dangerous trend. So we've basically isolated the problem, right? We know it's not with their core business. That's healthy. The bleeding is coming from the overhead. That's what we'd call our level 1 finding. Now it's time to go a level deeper. We're going to zoom right in on that SG&A line and see what's really driving that crazy growth. And oh boy, this is where the story goes from concerning to absolutely wild. If we break down that overhead growth from just the last year, it is staggering. Staff costs up about 10%. Okay, that's fine for a growing company. But look at advertising, up 115%. It doubled in 1 year. You have to ask, what are they getting for that money? But the real jaw-dropper is this line, bad debt. That's money they're owed that they've just given up on collecting. It went up by, wait for it, 2,400%. That is not a typo. That's a full-blown 5-alarm fire. Something is seriously broken here. Are they just signing up anyone to juice the sales numbers? This needs an immediate, deep dive.
Okay, so we found the problem. We've gone from the big, high-level symptom all the way down to the specific source of the pain. Now comes the important part. What do we do about it? It's time to write the prescription for the COO.
And our recommendation is a simple 3-step plan. Step 1, an immediate, all-hands-on-deck investigation into those crazy line items. We need to know why bad debt shot up and what exactly they're getting for all that ad money. Step 2, they have to start using ROI-based budgeting. What that means is, from now on, if you want money for a big project, you have to show what the return on that investment is going to be. No more blank checks. And step 3, they need smarter cost controls. You know, a brand new venture in a new country might need a bit more cash than a mature business, but there's no more no-holds-barred spending anywhere. So we've tackled the cost problem, but while we were digging through the numbers, we stumbled onto something else, something even bigger. And honestly, this might be the most shocking discovery of the entire case. Let's talk about their dividend. Okay, remember this number from the beginning? Last year, after all the bills were paid, Smackdown Rivals made a profit of $45.4 million. Just lock that number in your head for a second. Now look at this. The company pays its shareholders a dividend. For every share you own, you get $1.44. Sounds nice, right? Well, with over 72 million shares out there, that adds up to almost $105 million. That's what they're paying out to shareholders every single year. Okay, now let's put those two numbers side by side. They earn $45 million in profit, but they pay out $105 million in dividends. You don't need to be a math genius to see the problem there. They are paying out more than double what they actually make. They're literally draining their savings account to fund this thing. It's completely 100% unsustainable.
And here is the massive strategic problem with that. Remember the COO's big mission, aggressive growth? Well, how do growth companies grow? They take their profits and they plow them back into the business. They use that money to expand, to create new stuff, to build for the future. Smackdown is doing the exact opposite. They are starving the company of the cash it desperately needs to grow, all so they can pay this gigantic dividend. Their actions and their strategy are in a head-on collision.
Okay, so it's time to wrap this all up. We've done the deep dive, we've found the problems. If we were walking into that COO's office right now, here is the executive summary we would give him. Short, sharp, and to the point. Look, here's the bottom line. First, those analysts were right. You have a serious overhead cost problem, and it's killing your profits. You need to launch a deep dive investigation into your advertising and bad debt yesterday. Second, you have got to build a culture of financial discipline that starts with ROI-based budgeting. No more guessing. And finally, and this is the most urgent part, your dividend policy is a strategic disaster. It is completely unsustainable, and it's robbing the company of the fuel it needs to achieve its goals. So when you boil it all down, the COO is basically facing two massive fires. You've got an operational fire, that's the out-of-control spending that's burning through profits, and then you have a strategic fire. That's the dividend policy that's draining the company's lifeblood. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. If you were in the COO's chair, which fire do you put out first? The spending or the dividend?